session.
Right, and then pass them along.
We are reconvened at 11:45 a.m.
This is from the audience.
And just for the audience's
That's honest
information,
feedback.
we're
We
going
need
to
to
take a
walk
few
through.
minutes to read the feedback that most of you just submitted. I'm going to send some of this
How about
down.
separated by candidates? That way it makes it easier for you not confused on who we're talking about. So
Perfect.
I could pass these three down to the end if that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll just make sure we see.
Just
all
make
of
sure
them.
what candidate you get. Yeah, we'll start there.
We'll share, and
Well,
I guess
say you
you
want to
can
take a
start
bottom
here.
couple and.
this is all same. Okay.
Right here too. They see I wrote. Actually.
Here's, 3, or 2, excuse me.
Here's three.
Same candidate.
I'm gonna pass this
That's a
down.
different candidate. It's a constant message.
Feel like we should be humming the Jeopardy tune.
This is, part of what I've handed to Teresa.
You missed that one. I don't know if they saw it down. Did you see this one?
No.
What's that one?
The other candidate.
Oh, okay.
Is it different?
Have you guys seen these?
Was there
No.
three?
Is it 3 first?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Do you guys have any down there?
The only ones we haven't seen are for the last one.
Yeah, we haven't seen any for the last one yet. Do you guys have any down there that you're done with?
Still, here's one for, you see that one?
Yeah. No.
Here's 2 more, Teresa.
Yep. Okay. Some water. You've seen these already? Did they see these already?
Did you guys see these ones? I think I got them first, I'm not sure. Just double check.
Has each board member
We've
seen the
those.
comments on all three candidates? Because there are comments on all three.
We're almost, yeah,
Okay.
we're almost done.
This is, yeah.
Let's see for the record.
Okay. Actually, did not make phone calls myself. Take those, listen to your phone calls.
Okay.
I made good. They said talk to other board members.
Okay, has everybody read all of the comment sheets that were submitted?
I did.
Ms. Miller?
Well, we're at the point of, hopefully, you've had the opportunity to speak with, or to ask questions of the candidates a second time, of those that you narrowed it. So we're back to kind of where we were before, of narrowing this process down, hopefully to one candidate today. Again, can address it in a couple of ways. We can see if there is a feeling and if there's the support for a candidate over the other two, or basically the same process that we used before. Again, as we're going to talk about the candidates, for the audience, I'll remind that all the deliberation must take place in the open meeting. So the discussion that takes place among the board members, they have not discussed it prior to this, and so this will be their opportunity. And I'd again recommend that we talk about the strengths of candidates to keep it in the positive mode, as to why one candidate might be stronger than another. But with that thought in mind, you had three candidates, and kind of just as a hand, a show of hands before I go too much further. Are any of you able to narrow it to 2 out of the 3? Okay. Are any of you able to narrow it to 1 out of the 3?
Yeah.
Okay. So there's at least some movement to talk about narrowing it to a candidate or candidates. But again, I would highly recommend that we consider where you're going to head from this point. Okay. Either you have selected and finalized and have come to the conclusion that you're comfortable with making the decision now about one candidate. And then that would call for that motion to invite a candidate to enter into contract deliberations with you, to bring that to a speedy conclusion. If the board's unable to do that, then my question to you is, what's your next step? Okay, because you've done the 2 interviews, at what point? And I would, again, I'll be asking the same question I asked last time. What more information is it that you need? Because if the conclusion is that none of these 3 candidates is the right fit for Romulus, then then that's the decision, and it would take a motion to say that you want to go back into and begin the search again, the process of reopen the pool and begin again. So that's kind of where you're at this point. You've got 3 candidates, and I don't think I saw all hands say that they could divide it or reduce it to 2, which means that I'm assuming that for some of you, you can't, it's still like, and the ideal would be if you could take the positive, the extreme positive quality of each candidate and put them into one person. That would be great. That's, at this point, anytime you're dealing with human beings, there's going to be a difference. And so we're down to probably, again, fit. I'm going to do these in the order of, the interview process, not for any,
Marie, while you're doing that, I just want to clarify my hesitation about, raising my hand about reducing to 2. I don't feel reducing to 2 is a wise move. It's my opinion, we either need to make a decision on somebody that is the best fit for the district, or we need to restart the process. That's why I hesitated. No, I don't want to go to 2. I'm satisfied with the choice I've made based on what I consider to be the best fit, so.
that's fine. And I mean, and some of that may change in terms of, board members' feelings once there's any discussion. It's when you can't eliminate it all, then my conclusion would be either none of them are the right fit, or, you can't take pieces of each individual. So what we could do is the same process of each board member selecting one candidate. Are you comfortable with that?
Okay, what did you say again?
Selecting one,
Oh,
one choice. To see where the board is at, or if someone wants to make, a comment about the strengths or whatever of the candidates at this point, that can be done too. But at some point, I need to know where you are as individuals to see where you are as a board as a whole.
Well, I'll be the goat and start. I have no qualms in saying that I feel the best fit based on the overall dual interview process, the enormous packets we've received, and the experience factor involved. I have no reservations in saying I support Dr. Paula Daniels.
And again, this is not a vote, so.
I can speak. From what I've listened to, the research I did on my own, I took some of the suggestions of talking to other people. So I support, my number one candidate would be Dr. Daniels.
I mean, I also took the advice and did phone calls to other boards on all 3 candidates and some background. I mean, I guarantee I can, at least go to Miss Martin and Miss Daniels and eliminate the 3rd candidate right now. I know that don't help you much, but I'm just saying how research that I did.
And I think I'm in the same boat as Cheryl and John. I kind of did some of my own research also, and based on what I saw and being in the community with Dr. Daniels over the last few weeks and going to outside community functions as well as within our school community functions, and seeing some of the stuff that she's been working with us on, I'm going to say my candidate will probably be Dr. Daniels also.
And mine would be the 2, Martin and Daniels.
I'm abstaining from voting. I don't think neither one of those are any good candidates, personally.
So you don't want any of the 3?
Nope.
None of the 3?
I'm abstaining from voting.
Okay, but are you saying that none of the 3, so, I'm not asking, because nobody's voting at this point.
I don't think any of the 3 candidates
Okay.
up there are qualified for the job in regards to what we need in our district as of right now.
Okay.
If that makes any sense to
Yeah,
you.
no, it does.
Okay.
You said, I couldn't figure out if you were talking about 2 or 3. So basically, that at least tells us where the feelings of the board are.
I guess I'm the last one. Throughout the whole process, some of the, with having, done your research and reviewing the packets, I would be remiss if I didn't take also into consideration part of the past leadership that we've had as well. And just kind of, reflecting and looking at that, I really feel like Dr. Daniels would be the best candidate for our district. I feel that our district is in the process of a healing process, and we need someone who can definitely help us recover from the wounds that we've had as a district, but as well as a community. I feel that she is definitely beginning those. What I've heard out in the community have been resounding acclamations of, she's doing a really good job, and I know that puts her an advantage from her opponent, well, in a sense, in this, with the competition of the other two candidates. But also, too, I'm looking at personalities, and I really feel like she has the type of personality that can be embraced in our community. And not to say that the other candidate can't adapt, but I don't feel like she would, well, I'm supposed to stick to the positive. So, Dr. Daniels.
Again, and I just want to go on the record and say that I will state that I believe all three candidates are qualified
Yeah.
to be superintendent in Romulus schools or any other district in the state. They may not be the best match.
Right.
Okay, or one may be a better fit or a match. So just so that when we're talking, because there's two different things there.
Right.
In terms of being qualified, they all meet the
Yeah,
qualifications. So
definitely.
I just need to do that for the purposes of protecting the interest of the district, that they are qualified.
Yeah.
So at this point, okay, you've got basically, as I see it, probably two options. And one would be, and in both cases, it would take an action of the board. One would be to begin the search process again, and that would take a motion, a support, and a vote of the board, a majority of the vote, or a motion to offer offer the invitation to be superintendent to the schools. In other words, enter in contract, to enter into contract deliberations. At that point, the board would need to, once that was determined, then the board would need to decide how you were going to do that.
Thank you, Mrs. Miller. Board members, it's obvious by looking at the numbers that there is a majority here. There is a topic sheet in front of you. The chair will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move that the Board of Education authorize the board president, board vice president, and board treasurer to enter into negotiations with Dr. Paula Daniels for superintendent of the Romulus Community School District.
Support.
It's been moved by Mrs. Buckley, supported by Mrs. Funderburg, that the Board of Education authorize the board president, the board vice president, the board treasurer to enter into negotiations with Dr. Paula Daniels for superintendent of the Romulus Community School District. Are there any questions? Hearing none, do we need to do this on a roll call vote?
I would recommend a roll call
Mr.
vote.
Secretary, could you please do a roll call vote?
Yes. Ms. Bowles.
Abstaining?
Ms. Kraut.
Can I make a statement before you vote, Sandy?
Yes.
I don't want to coerce how anybody votes, but we need to make sure we understand the message we send if we are a cohesive board. When we do offer a position to an administrator, they need to know whether the board's going to support them or not. So,
Well, I guess I
vote
will
your heart.
support whoever is the majority, but
Vote
that
your heart.
doesn't mean that I can't vote.
Okay.
And that's true.
Absolutely.
Vote with
There-
your
there-
heart.
You want us to
Vote
go back to
in
you?
your heart.
That-
How
that-
you
You
feel.
vote what's in your heart, what you can lay your head down and.
Right.
That is true. I would say vote, and then I'll address, if there is a majority, then we'll address that at that point.
Thank you. I just,
Because there are two candidates that I think that would both be qualified, and I believe that because of for me, the deficit situation is the priority. And so I need somebody that will get out there and make the right decisions on cuts. And so for me, I'm going to vote no, but I'm going to support whoever is elected by the board.
That's fair.
that's absolutely fair. Thank you.
Ms. Funderburg.
Yes.
Ms. Buckley.
Yes.
Ms. Beard.
Yes.
Mr. McLaughlin.
Yes.
Mr. Theed votes yes. 5-1, and 1 abstain.
Okay.
Thank you. The motion
now-
carries.
The motion carries, and now the question would be, and I think that's stated, is that, and there would be an opportunity for any other board member to make a statement if they so desired. But again, once you have the vote, and to make that, explanation, but once you have the majority vote, as all of you know, you speak as one, not as individuals.
Absolutely. I'd like to, I'm sorry, does anybody have anything they want to say? Right?
I just want to say, as long as it goes on record, that I abstain.
I have it.
It's on
It's
record.
on
And I just want to make sure that that's on record personally. Other than that, I really don't have anything else to say in regards to it. It's nothing personal. Everybody looks good on paper to me. Everybody looked good on paper, far as being qualified, degree-wise, put it that way, in qualifications and jobs and letters of recommendation and all of that. Let me say that way. But as I said, I just don't feel that
The right
all three are a good fit for the purpose of what we need done as of right now, this moment.
On behalf of the Board of Education and the community, I want to thank you, Marie Miller, and your umbrella organization, Michigan Association of School Boards, for guiding us through this long process, but I think it was it produced fruit. It was certainly an education for all of us here. It was an experience that I hope we don't have to repeat again for a while. I want to thank the board for cooperating with the long meetings, the extensive research, the homework, and the cooperation and working together as a team to get through this process. So I do want to thank you. I want to ask board members, since the executive board, the treasurer, the vice president, and myself will be negotiating. The parameters have already been established. We did that when we started the process. If we are able to, our board members going to be prepared to have this as an agenda item Monday? Okay, I just wanted to make sure that I
No,
wasn't
I'm
cause
fine
World
with
War
it.
III.
I mean,
Yeah.
because we kind of
Yeah,
set,
and the parameters are basically set, and, it's something that is in process, and we will meet with with Dr. Daniels, and we will get something to you. I will email the entire board with the fruits of that conversation, so you're not just hit with it Monday when you get to the meeting. Is that fair with everybody?
that's fine.
Right,
I
and
So-
I just would,
go
And
ahead.
if I can't
Caution.
email you, I'll call you.
I would just recommend that everybody that's on that board remember to think that we're in a deficit position, and that hopefully we can offer more at a future date, but that we need to look at what our
Absolutely.
constraints are now.
Well, the stated cap is 130, which is
But that doesn't mean we have to always offer the cap to everybody.
exactly. And
I just have one question, because information like that comes in a packet. The superintendent information is not confidential.
That's
So how are we getting that out to our general public before we get here?
for Monday's agenda,
I'm not finished yet. You thought it was. I always have to have that one more word. Before I thank you, let me just say, okay, my work is not done. I will be contacting the three candidates to let them know, and let, Dr. Daniels know that she'll be contacted by the board president to set up a meeting. And I will share the appreciation of the board again with the other two candidates, and wish them well on your behalf. In addition to that, I will send something out to Ms. Bositas, I guess, to get something out to the staff to say that the board has made their decision as entering into the deliberations. I assume that you already have a board meeting scheduled for Monday, is that
Yes.
correct? Okay, so it's already posted in that position. The other thing, as your MASB consultant, I will highly recommend that as Mr. McLaughlin is sending information out to you as an individual board member, you respond back to the president, not hit the reply all. because when you start going into the reply all, it then enters into some gray area for the Open Meetings Act, so I always make that recommendation. If you kind of follow what's going on the west side of the state, you'll know why we're even more cognizant of that right now. So I am 100% confident that the board has adhered to everything it's need to adhere to this point. On the other note, I'm going to say this, that coming into a search is always kind of a uncomfortable feeling because you never know what the board is going to be like that you're going to work with. I believe, are a wonderful board of 7 individuals who work together for one purpose and reach that consensus and get to that one. And that is not an easy task at any time, especially within the format. You've done a wonderful job with this. Again, I have watched you grow as board members, and deliberating on an open floor makes you grow as a board, not as necessarily as individuals, but as a board, to agree to disagree. Commend you on the respectfulness of each other. I think you're wonderful role models. I, again, as a former superintendent, ask all of you to give the full support because the job is massive. Your job is tough. The job of a superintendent is even more difficult. So again, congratulations and wish you the best. The other thing is that MASB will be sending a survey where you will get to evaluate, the support services of MASB through this. Please complete it because it helps provide the feedback back to MASB to let us know what we could improve or what we're doing well and what's working for boards. So with that, I'll be available by phone and email. You have both of those if you need any support. And then once you select your superintendent, you'll contact MASB to set up those workshops that are provided also as part of the search contract, the follow-up workshops.
Thank you. Do we need to collect any more of the application packets, or?
I would
ask that people
recommend
shred them?
that you collect all the documents. If someone has personal notes, they don't need to give those in, but any of the application documents, I would suggest if they have not been turned in, that they be turned into either Mr. McLaughlin or Ms. Bositas, and then the district will basically shred in or do whatever they're going to do with the documents.
Because other than the 4 finalists, the rest of them under a permanent confidential seal.
Exactly, all of the rest of them. Those should all be back. I'm assuming that the ones you didn't get back before came back, because I didn't hear anything more. If not, please return those to Ms. Bositas. If you, took them and didn't, then give a statement, a written statement to her saying that you've destroyed them and that they will not go any further. That'll cover it.
Thank you. We are now at the point of the meeting for communications and expressions from the public. Is there anybody that wishes to address the board at this time? Ms. West, will you please come up and use the microphone?
I'd just like to say this is the 3rd time that I've participated as a passive participant in the superintendent search. And I would just like to commend Mrs. Martin for the way that she has conducted this search. I mean, it's been exemplary. Don't want to sway you in terms of your survey, but if I had an opportunity to present or to participate in that survey, I'd have to give her an exemplary rating. Absolutely awesome.
Thank you. Ms. West. Is there anybody else? With that, the chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I motion that we adjourn.
Support. It's been moved by Mrs. Buckley, supported by Mr. Thede, that we adjourn. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Meeting is adjourned at 12:14. Thank you, everybody.